First things first, though, before we get into it, this is how I plan content strategically. There is a rhyme and a reason for all of these posts. And if you're taking the time to create posts for your social media account, you want to have a strategy behind it. Otherwise, all your posts are not going to work together like they should be. Welcome to episode 24 of Mompreneur Mastery. Today I'm going to show you how I plan a whole month of content in, I'm going to guess, less than 20 minutes. Okay. First things first, though, before we get into it, this is how I plan content strategically. There is a rhyme and a reason for all of these posts. And if you're taking the time to create posts for your social media account, you want to have a strategy behind it. Otherwise, all your posts are not going to work together like they should be. Because if you think about it, everyone's attention spans are so short, especially on social media. You can't do all that you need to do to get someone to buy just from one post. You have to get their attention. You have to build awareness of a problem. You have to build trust and authority that you are the person to solve this problem. And then you invite them to buy. This has to be done over the course of many posts. So having a strategy to make sure all of this is happening is just absolutely key for consistent sales from your Instagram content. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I am going to share a link in the show notes to a content calendar you can use. It is very similar to the one I'm using here. I've just adjusted it to include some other marketing platforms that I use. And you can do that if you use them as well. And I'm also going to include a link to a YouTube video. I am recording this, not just the audio, but a video screen recording it so you can see what it looks like on my end as well. If you're a visual person, that will help you. So first things first, if you have any big things going on in your business or your life, make sure you are aware of it before you start planning your content. If you are having, you're going on vacation, or you have like your kid's birthday or some school function that you have to go to, don't do anything big on social media where you're going to feel like you have to be replying to comments and like DMs and things like that, unless you have some kind of ManyChat type of automation thing to do it for you. So you can see if you're watching the video, I have already put in some emails that I know I'm going to be sending for like a flash sale. I know down here I have an email that I need to be sending out for a bundle I'm participating in. It's like that. Make sure you're notating it so that you know what you're doing on each day. Now, another great thing about planning your content ahead of time is you know what to post and you're not stressing last minute like, oh my gosh, I should really post something. I haven't done it in a while. What should I do? What should I say? Things like that. When you have a plan, even if you don't batch create everything at the same time, because I will probably do the actual creating of this in chunks. For my clients, the ones I create content for, I usually do it all at once and send it to them for approval. But my own, because I don't need my own approval, I can take my time and go week by week or even morning of if I've forgotten, if something comes up, a sick kid, emergency vet visit, something like that. I can go in and just look at the calendar and be like, oh yeah, this is what I was supposed to post today. I can quickly make it in Canva or record a quick reel and schedule it or just post it. But being able to batch create and schedule things ahead of time just saves me so much time and energy and stress. If you haven't done it, highly, highly recommend. And you don't have to do a month at a time like I do. If you've never done it before, try a week, try 2 weeks. Those small changes are going to be more consistent in the long run. If you try to take on too much at once, you're not going to be able to keep up with it because it's just such a big change. So start small and work your way up. So for me, for my content, I know that every Monday I have a new podcast episode. I don't have all the topics planned out for January yet, but I do know that every Monday, to promote that podcast episode, I share a soundbite from that podcast as a reel. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it in here on my content calendar every Monday. Podcast soundbite. If you listen to my last podcast episode, I talked about that in early 2024. The real goal behind my Instagram content is going to be fostering more connection and nurturing my current followers so that, one, I know how to best serve them. I don't want to make some kind of like guide if they're looking for a course or coaching. I don't want to create content on growing your audience if right now they're worried about nurturing and selling. I want to make sure that my content and the work I'm creating, the resources and things I'm creating are going to be helpful and accessible to my audience. So my key with most of these posts is going to be starting conversations. And the best way to do that is really relatable content and educational content. And I know in February, I'm also going to be selling resources related to launching a new offer. So most of my topics are going to be related to launching. Given that, I might do a post like a relatable reel, something about creating new offers while watching kids and how like tricky that is. It's super relatable because my target audience is mompreneurs. They get it. They've been there. And I know that my kind of funnier reels, like not super educational, get a lot more comments than educational or promotional ones. And then here I'll probably do an educational one. Let's see. Last month, I started a series called Sales Slip-Ups, and I think I will continue that, but make sure everything is somehow related to launching, even if I'm not outright and saying this is specific to launching. I might just mention it in the content. So Sales Slip-Ups 2, launching without market research, maybe. So that will be a real Thursday. I don't normally post because not a ton of my followers are active on Thursdays. If you are not sure which days and times to be posting, make sure you check whatever schedule you're using. I'm sure they have something that can show you. I use Metricool, and that shows me what days, what times people are most active on certain platforms that I use. And I know Instagram is a lot less on Thursdays, so I can save myself the time and energy and just kind of skip that day and focus on other ones. So then Friday, I like to do FAQ posts on Fridays. I will probably have it somewhat related to the podcast episode so that my messaging is consistent across different platforms, but also can maybe get some extra listens to my podcast episode because this is still pretty new and I'm trying to grow that. So the next week, the week of the 8th, I know I have a bundle that I need to promote here. So that'll be a post. I'll fill in that FAQ Friday already because I know that's going to be a thing. And then that Wednesday, let's see, I've done 2 promotional posts already this week. Even if I'm not promoting like a sale, like an offer that I'm selling, this first Monday, I promoted my podcast episode. And then this one, I've promoted a bundle I'm a part of. So this one, I want to bring it back to that connection piece and maybe make it educational and helpful, build that trust and authority as an Instagram strategist. So I want it to be educational and keeping on with the launch theme. I am just trying to think of all of the different aspects around launching, the pain points, desired outcomes, obviously sales, the issues people are having with it. And I'm going to pick one of those things and turn it into a topic. So the last week I did sales slip-ups was about mistakes. So this one I want to reframe in a positive light. So I think I will do it about market research. Maybe because you have to have market research to make sure your messaging is on point in your posts before you launch. Make sure your content is actually going to hit its mark and sell your offer. So make that about market research, maybe some scripts, highlight the importance of it. So market research as an aspect of the launch, but not super specific to launching in general. I mean, you should have market research for any kind of content that you're creating. You want it to resonate with your audience. So knowing what they're going to find helpful, what they're going to connect with, all of that comes from market research. That might even end up being a podcast episode topic for me. All right, continuing to the next week. And again, if you've never batched content before or planned it out like this, that's 2 weeks right there. You're done. You can take a break. You can sit back and work on creating that content and then come back and do the next 2 weeks, maybe next week. Start small if this is new to you, if it feels a little overwhelming or uncomfortable. I'm going to keep going. Monday, as usual, the podcast soundbite is there. Tuesday, I'm probably going to do another market research type of thing because it is really important, and having that kind of foundation just sets you up for so much success, whether it's with a launch or your regular content. But instead of making it educational, I might do either a case study or maybe a relatable reel, like what happens if you don't do market research. Actually, I'm going to save that one. This one will be a case study. And then I'm going to do the next week, I will do the relatable reel that shows what happens if you don't do market research. These kind of common pain points that people are experiencing because they haven't done market research, and show market research as a solution to that problem. And then back to the 17th, I'm going to do another sales slip up series, another mistake. This will be number 3. So for this one, we will continue the sales slip up series. And this will be the 3rd one, and it will be about trying to sell without connection. All right, on to the next week, the week of the 22nd. Monday will be the podcast soundbite, which is a promotional thing. Wednesday, I had already filled in that market research idea, that relatable reel about what happens, what people are experiencing when they try to sell something without having done their market research. So knowing that we have a promotional and we have a relatable, slightly educational, I'm going to do a flat out educational carousel here. And it will be about how to grow your audience, because everyone wants a bigger following. It's not a must have, but if you want to really blow your sales up the water when it comes to a launch or any time you're selling something on Instagram, the more visible your content is, the more leads you have, the more sales you can make, right? So not necessary, but always helpful, so long as your audience is filled with people in your target audience. Once again, skipping Thursday, heading over to Friday and doing an FAQ post related to my podcast. The very last week, only 3 days because it's the end of the month. So Monday's the podcast soundbite. Tuesday, I'm going to try and find a way here to promote my lead magnet. I have 2 lead magnets. The one I want to promote here is a launch content calendar. So how I'm going to do it is I'm going to do a 4th sales slip up video, and the slip up will be when people only focus on their sales posts when they're launching something, instead of doing all the prep work to make sure that their audience is actually prepared to buy. And at the end, I will promote my lead magnet because it helps solve that problem. And then the very last day of the month, the 31st, Wednesday, I'm going to do a relatable mompreneur type of reel because those always work out for me and create conversation and connection. And it shows my audience that I get what it's like trying to do what they're doing, working with kids, trying to manage all the things, because I am also doing it. I'm not going to create that one for a while though, because it's a ways out and I don't know what audios will be trending or anything then, but I at least know the topic of what I want to do, so it narrows it down quite a bit. There you have it. That is my whole month of content planned out. I hope you find that helpful. Again, if you don't have a content calendar, check out the show notes. If you want to see what it looks like, check out the show notes. There's a video. And if you're going to try batching your content using these strategies, I would just absolutely love it if you could leave me a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you're listening, so that other mom business owners can find it and start saving their time with strategized content and also not having to struggle with knowing what to post. Thank you so much for listening. I can't wait to see what content you create. Feel free to share it with me on Instagram. I am at socially.yours.strategist. Thank you so much for listening. If this content was helpful for you, if you found it valuable, I would love it if you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts so that other mom business owners can find this episode and get the same tips and strategies to support their business and their families. If you have questions or just want to connect, you can find me over on Instagram. My handle is at socially.yours.strategist.